Imagine drifting through the cool green waters off the southern coast of Australia. Sunlight filters through dense kelp forests, casting rippling shadows across the ocean floor. Everything seems calm, peaceful, almost magical. And then, out of the corner of your eye, you spot it. A leafy sea dragon. At first glance, it could easily be mistaken for a piece of floating seaweed, but look closer and you'll see a creature so exquisitely decorated with leaf-like appendages, subtle patterns, and delicate fins that it almost seems unreal. It drifts gracefully like a tiny underwater sculpture designed by Mother Nature herself. That also happens to have almost zero self-defense skills. Life for a leafy sea dragon is, in many ways, a long, slow-motion struggle for survival. From the moment they begin their lives, everything conspires against them. The story begins before our leafy hero even hatches. In a twist that would make most animals jealous, it's the male leafy sea dragon who carries the eggs. The female deposits her eggs on a special brood patch under his tail, where he fertilizes and carries them until they hatch. He can carry up to 300 eggs at a time, each nestled in tiny, blood-rich cups. But unlike seahorses, he cannot enclose the eggs in a pouch. They are fully exposed, dangling under his tail as he drifts slowly through the kelp, hoping that nothing bumps into him. A strong current, a passing fish, or a careless diver could end it all. Weeks pass and tiny hatchlings emerge. At just 2 centimeters long, they are miniature versions of the adults, complete with leaf-like flaps and tiny tube-like snouts. Beautiful? Absolutely. But completely on their own? Also absolutely. There is no parental care beyond the egg stage. No guidance, no protection, no survival manual. Just the vast ocean and hundreds of tiny predators waiting to make a snack of them. Feeding presents the first real challenge. Leafy sea dragons do not have a stomach. Food passes through their digestive system almost immediately, meaning they must eat constantly. Their diet consists of mysid shrimp, copepods, and other tiny planktonic organisms. They hunt using a long tubular snout that works like a suction straw. By rapidly expanding the head and creating negative pressure, they suck prey in almost instantaneously. Essentially, leafy sea dragons are like delicate underwater vacuum cleaners. Elegant, slow, and slightly ridiculous looking. Swimming is another hurdle. Leafy sea dragons are terrible swimmers. Their fins, one on the neck and one on the tail, are tiny, transparent, and barely noticeable, allowing them only subtle movements to hover or drift. They cannot chase prey, they cannot flee quickly from predators. Even strong currents or waves can push them dozens of meters away, leaving them stranded. In other words, leafy sea dragons live life like a leaf in the wind, graceful to look at but entirely at the mercy of the environment. So how do they survive? Their secret weapon is camouflage. Their leaf-like appendages mimic the surrounding seaweed almost perfectly, breaking up their outline and hiding them from predators. Their colors shift subtly to match the environment, allowing them to disappear in plain sight. But camouflage is only effective in kelp forests. Drift into open sand or rocky areas, and suddenly that beautiful disguise is useless. Despite these challenges, leafy sea dragons slowly grow into adulthood, reaching up to 35 centimeters long. Their bodies remain rigid and inflexible, but their leaf-like fins give them the appearance of effortless elegance. Every appendage has a function, whether it's for camouflage, subtle movement, or stabilizing them in the water. Even adults face challenges. Their slow swimming speed and delicate bodies make them vulnerable to predators such as large fish, crabs, and rays. Human impacts are even more serious. Coastal development destroys their kelp habitats, pollution affects their health, and rising water temperatures threaten their survival. Accidental capture in fishing nets is also a real danger. With low reproductive rates, conservationists classify leafy sea dragons as near threatened. Reproduction is another delicate process. Leafy sea dragons do not migrate far, so finding a mate requires that 2 adults meet within close proximity. When they do, they perform a courtship dance, rising and falling together, twisting, turning, and mirroring each other's movements. This ritual can last hours or even days. Eventually, the female deposits eggs onto the male's brood patch, where he fertilizes them. This slow, intricate process ensures the next generation has a chance to survive, but it is highly dependent on favorable conditions. Feeding, survival, and reproduction define their adult lives. They feed constantly because they have no stomach. They rely on camouflage because their swimming speed is so slow. They reproduce slowly because courtship requires precision and patience. Every aspect of their life is finely tuned but incredibly fragile. Yet, despite all this, leafy sea dragons persist. They drift through kelp forests, feed tirelessly, evade predators with remarkable camouflage, and reproduce when conditions allow. Their lives are slow, delicate, and highly specialized, but they endure through adaptation and patience. There's a lesson hidden in the life of the leafy sea dragon. Survival does not always require speed, power, or aggression. Sometimes it requires patience, subtlety, and adaptation. Sometimes blending in and carefully navigating the environment is the key to living a long life. Leafy sea dragons may be fragile, but they are extraordinary in how they thrive, despite overwhelming odds. Next time you see a photo or video of a leafy sea dragon gliding gracefully among kelp, take a moment to think about the journey behind that image. The tiny hatchlings feeding almost constantly, the adults performing intricate courtship dances, surviving predators, storms, and human impacts, and reproducing with patience and precision. Every leafy sea dragon is a masterpiece of evolution, a living testament to resilience, adaptation, and quiet endurance. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of one of the ocean's most fascinating creatures, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me which other rare or unusual animal you'd like to explore next. Thank you for joining me in this dive into the world of the leafy sea dragon. Stay curious, stay kind, and remember, even the quietest, most fragile creatures can have the most extraordinary stories.